Name is Priyadarshini Anupalaga, and today I'm going to talk about SLCA, which is Social Life Cycle Assessment. The social aspects are considered to be the least addressed pillar among three dimensions of sustainability, namely environment, economy, and social aspect. Where social life assessment has been developed as a methodology to assess a positive or negative social and socio-economic impact along the product life cycle. Although the existence of number of tools focused on assessing social impact with the SLCA differs from the other by its object on products and the services, and its scope concerning the entire life cycle. The advantage of adopting a life cycle perspective include informing retailer and end consumer about the positive and negative social impact of the particular product and that they sell or buy, and preventing the shifting negative social impact from one life cycle phase to another of forms on social issue to another.
So today I will share the examples research articles, which is social life cycle assessment of green and burn manual sugarcane harvesting in the northeastern Thailand. Key study goals is to reduce impact of sugarcane trash burning, green sugarcane harvesting, and assesses social performance of green and burn manual sugarcane harvesting in northeastern Thailand. And it's using the social life cycle assessment technique. And there is a limitation on this article, which is the safe harvesting machine itself. These are the key stakeholders who are involved in this article.
Let's look into what is social organizational life cycle assessment. According to Manuela de Isanio, social organizational life cycle assessment (SOLCA) is defined as a methodology to evaluate the social and socio-economic aspect of the activities of whole organization or a portion of it from a life cycle perspective. According to Garcia Muina 2022, there are 5 steps of SOLCA to apply the method in any organization. Let's have a look on what are the methods. The first step of So-Lca method is building the technical scientific committee. The second step is goal and scope definition. The third one is inventory analysis. The fourth one is social impact assessment. And the last one is method validation. As a conclusion, social organization life cycle assessment is still a relatively new idea with approaches and data availability evolving all the time. However, this method is able to detect important spots and specific drawbacks of an organization's social footprint.
Current product social life cycle assessment (SLCA) addresses social aspects from a life cycle perspective, but it is not yet broadly implemented in practice. They propose a new organizational perspective to boost SLCA, the Social Organizational LCA or So-Lca. The paper answers 4 guiding questions, which is why do we need So-Lca? How can we apply it? How can its implementation benefit from existing experience? Which are the foreseen limitations? So-Lca helps to overcome some major challenges of SLCA and thus is a promising approach for putting it into practice. The frameworks of SLCA and O-Lca can be integrated into O-Lca, and existing experience for organization can be used for implementing it.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about social life cycle assessment (SOLCA) in the methodology of SOLCA in the manufacturing industry. This study proposed a mixed method approach based on the integration of social life cycle assessment (SLCA) methodology with Industry 4.0 technologies in the manufacturing context. The SLCA was chosen over other social assessment methods because it adopts the same methodological procedures. In this analysis, LCA was applied following the guidelines provided by UNDP in the latest version published in 2020, as LCA shares the same ISO 14044 framework with LCA. These are the ISO 14044 framework, which is for the first one is goal and scope definition, second is inventory analysis, third is impact assessment, and fourth is interpretation. As a conclusion, it was therefore decided to adopt study methodology, believing that this methodology was circumscribed the context to affirm at the leading transformation and adoption of the Industry 4.0 paradigm.
So this is one of the examples for the case study about So-Lca. Social Organization Life Cycle Assessment and Social Life Cycle Assessment. So it's about the correlation from a case study about the So-Lca and Social Life Cycle Assessment. So-Lca and So-Lca have many similarities on a methodological level. Although they are different with regard to the scope of the analysis, this work shows that although the distinction between the two methodologies is clear, from a theoretical point of view, when implementing the existing differences are blurred. From this study, some current results should be verified when the study is conducted with the different methodological choice to compare to the previous So-Lca case study. So further development should give attention on the understanding how and to what the extent a different study setup could bring a result different from those of So-Lca.
Social Organization Life Cycle Assessment.
So-Lca can be defined as a social impact assessment that targets to assess social and socio-economic criteria of products and their potential impacts with their life cycle. So-Lca scope and goal is 1. Encourage external stakeholders to be involved and provide input on impacts within the assessment itself. 2. Require that practitioners consider the social impacts of the product use phase and function.
Next is the importance of So-Lca. So-Lca helps organizations to understand the relation between the activities and the processes involved in the entire value chain and the social impact of their product portfolio. So-Lca also helps in detect the negative impacts or hotspot, also in environmental and social level, and to intervene, with the ultimate goal of not only mitigating the impacts but also generating positive business impacts, and therefore they improve human well-being. Difference between So-Lca and So-Lca. So-Lca, a methodology to evaluate the social and socio-economic aspects of the activities of a whole organization, or a portion of it, from a life cycle perspective. So-Lca, a method that can be used to assess the social and sociological aspects of products, their actual and potential positive as well as negative impacts along the life cycle.
So-Lca helps to overcome some major challenges of So-Lca and thus is promising approach for putting it into practice. The frameworks of So-Lca and O-Lca can be integrated into So-Lca, and existing experience from organization can be used for implementing it. However, new challenges arise. This includes potential difficulties for primary data collection in complex organizations with many different sites, or the difficulty to distribute or aggregate social aspect within the organization. Further development and testing of So-Lca is recommended.
Good day everyone, my name is Priya Krishnan Palagan, and today I'm gonna talk you about the relation between social organizational life cycle assessment, which related to the So-Lca, which is social life cycle assessment, and O-Lca, which is organization life cycle assessment. As we all know, So-Lca helps to overcome some major challenges of So-Lca and thus is a promising approach for putting into a practice, where the framework of So-Lca and O-Lca can be integrated into social organization lifecycle assessment, and existing experience from the organization can be used for implementing it. However, when new challenges arise, these include potential difficulties for primary data collection and organization with many different sites, where in this case, the further development and testing of So-Lca is highly recommended.
So-Lca helps to overcome some major challenges of So-Lca and thus is promising approach for putting it into practice. Current methods of So-Lca address social aspects from a life cycle perspective, but they are not yet widely implemented in practice. So, to improve the results of a product, new organizational perspective is use social organizational LCA or So-Lca. Last but not least, different implementation paths have shown how So-Lca can be used in practice considering different levels of organizational experience with social and environmental assessment.